Cruise, a man who permanently looks like he's just seen a waiter spitting in his food but knows he'll probably eat it anyway. The main focus of Trump's campaigning, and when I say campaigning, I mean semi-coherent yelling, has been on a caravan of migrants supposedly heading for the US border from Central America. Trump claimed that the caravan contained unknown Middle Easterns. When asked about this, Trump acknowledged there's no proof of anything, but there could very well be. And then insisted, I have very good information. Presumably the same very good information that led him to believe the Central Park Five were guilty, Barack Obama was Kenyan, and pizza should be eaten crust first. That is how a psychopath eats pizza. Don't say the signs weren't there. He then also said this.
You know, they have a word. It sort of became old-fashioned. It's called a nationalist. And I say, really, we're not supposed to use that word. You know what I am? I'm a nationalist, okay? I'm a nationalist.
I can't be the only one who heard Trump say a word we're not supposed to use anymore and assumed we were about to hear more N-words than a Mel Gibson biopic written by Quentin Tarantino. Listen, he was stoking panic about immigration and proudly proclaiming himself to be a nationalist, so it's yet more divisive rhetoric, all of which is more disturbing, coming in the same week that explosive devices were intercepted on their way to the residences of George Soros, Barack Obama, the Clintons, Robert De Niro, Joe Biden and the offices of CNN, all of Trump's most hated figures. The only two things missing from that list are paying tax and salad. Pundits on Fox News trying to deflect allegations that Trump's rhetoric inspired these attacks and suggested they were part of a rising level of hostility from both sides. Fox News anchor Bill Hemmer said the attempted bombings were in the same vein as protesters interrupting prominent Republicans like Mitch McConnell and Sarah Sanders whilst they ate in restaurants. Now, I'm going to say something very controversial here. Trying to bomb someone and disturbing someone's meals are not in the same vein. There is no film where Tom Cruise is frantically trying to defuse an awkward encounter at Frankie and Benny's. And then Trump entered the fray with another one of his stupid, pointless rallies for idiots on Wednesday night, where he said this.
The media also has a responsibility to set a civil tone and to stop the endless hostility and constant negative and oftentimes false attacks and stories. By the way, do you see how nice I'm behaving tonight? This is like, have you ever seen this? We're all behaving very well.
So, there's Trump blaming the media and asking for praise just for being passive-aggressive rather than aggressive-aggressive. So people were targeted and you want to be congratulated for not saying, I'm glad. That's like someone saying, I haven't shat in the sink, where's my medal? All I'm going to say is this. Donald Trump is a racist whose violent rhetoric has risked the lives of many people this week. Do I have proof of this? No. But I do have some very good information. And now, over to the MASH News Desk for the latest headlines.
Headlines on the hour. Corbyn avoids fresh Labour Party controversy by doing fuck all for months.
As the Tory bullying row escalates, Jacob Rees-Mogg denies calling May a mutton-shunting gutter snipe, saying he actually called her a snaggletooth windy wallet.
And woman who received dick pics still laughing.
But first, the BBC has finally brought diversity to the Top Gear presenting team by hiring 3 different types of bellend. Tom Booker is the show's producer and had the difficult task of replacing 3 men with 3 other men.
Modern audiences demand modern bellends who are as fresh and exciting as Top Gear itself. You have to ask yourself, is there a bigger bellend than Jeremy Clarkson? Yes, Chris Evans. But who next? The main thing is to get 2 tall ones and make them bully a short one who pretends not to hate them.
Can't wait. Tom, what do you drive?
Well, interestingly,
No one cares. We'll be back with more later.
Thousands of people protested on the streets of London at the weekend as part of the People's Vote campaign, asking for a further referendum on Britain's membership of the EU. Rachel Parris is here with us to pick up a couple of the points to emerge from the demo. Firstly, Rachel, welcome back.
Thank you so much. Thank you, and thank you, Nish, as well. It means so much. I really appreciate that you still have time to talk to the common folk like me.
What?
Well, like me, a normal person, and you, a member of the elite.
OK, Rachel, please explain.
As you wish. Since the People's Vote March on Saturday, the 700,000 protesters have been branded members of the elite by pro-Brexit campaigners. Here's a billboard funded by the Leave Means Leave campaign, branding those on the march as elitist losers. I'm guessing you were there, Nish.
Yes, I was there, funnily enough. Did you go on the march, Rachel?
I don't want to get into that, but what I will say is that it was a truly dreadful day to do some early Christmas shopping. Genuine chaos. Now, this all follows a well-trodden Brexiteer narrative of labelling Remain voters as elitist. Now, traditionally, we know that the word elite refers to a small group of powerful people who hold a disproportionate amount of wealth, privilege or political power. But nowadays, the word elite has been reduced so low that it includes Nish Kumar. How on earth does it come to this? Well, this is my guide to whether you are a member of the elite. So, firstly, let's do a little quiz, Nish.
Okay.
Give you a bit of a warm-up.
Yeah, go for it.
So, first off, Nish, is this little girl an elite?
I mean, it's a child. No, absolutely not.
Nish, that's quite naive. She's going to school, isn't she? She's an educated, chattering classes, dinner party frequenting elite. And what about these guys at the 1980s miners' strike demonstrating against the closure of the pits?
I mean, they are 100% not the elite.
I think you'll find they're demonstrating against a decision that's already been taken, bloody miners. You lost! Get over it! Go and drink some craft ale in the Union Tapas bar, you sooty Sebastians. What about this little dog?
But,
No,
I mean, it's a dog. It's not part of the elite.
no, look, he's reading The Guardian, Nish. So anyone who you want to shut down, you can randomly label as elite. It's really sinister, but also a lot of fun for me. And an awful lot of us are now considered elite, probably way more than the 700,000 they originally thought. For example, you and I, Nish, you and I are textbook elite.
Really? Like, I'm the son of an immigrant family from Croydon, and you're, you know, by your own admission, at best, lower middle class. Like, aren't you from Leicester?
Yeah. I mean, you and I both went to university, so we're definitely elite. We're basically Charles and Camilla.
I'm not Charles.
I know you're not. I'm Charles.
What?
So if this is the elite, who are the plebs calling them out? Well, one is our old friend, Jacob Rees-Mogg. It was actually Jacob who initially called Nish out as being an elitist loser ball bag.
He didn't call me out specifically.
Did he not?
Yeah, and the tweet doesn't say ball bag.
I think it's implied.
What?
In any case, his suggestion that the hundreds of thousands of people on the march are all elitists does seem a bit of a stretch, given that he would have sent this tweet from his castle in Somerset. Let's take a look now at the rest of the fearless young revolutionaries calling out the painfully out-of-touch liberal elite. There's privately educated former hedge fund manager and man of the people, Nigel Farage. And, of course, there's old Etonian, former editor of The Spectator and salt-of-the-earth geezer, Boris Johnson. Oh, blimey, Governor, give us a farthing for me Telegraph column about Muslims. What these trust fund Tarquins really hate is self-made people who've done good through hard work or talent. They don't like people who've got where they are through merit rather than nepotism, because these people might have obtained a little bit of knowledge or, dare I say it, expertise. Shit! I mean, rightly so. Who do they think they are, getting all these doctorates and PhDs so they can, what, help save the world or heal the sick or develop life-enhancing technology? What a bunch of nauseating show-offs. And that's why, when my brother goes to have his tonsils removed before Christmas, I've recommended he have it done by a nice, down-to-earth tree surgeon rather than a qualified, up-his-own-arse doctor. And even though Northern Ireland Police Chief Constable George Hamilton said the post-Brexit Irish border will be chaos, it didn't stop, for example, Tory MP and I'm a Celeb contestant Nadine Dorries saying that the Irish border question is a red herring. I mean, who does George think he is? Again, he's the Northern Ireland Police Chief Constable. But to be fair, Nadine Dorries has chewed through an ostrich's bumhole, so she's got some pretty unique qualifications of her own. So in one way, Nadine is actually well prepared for the trials of leaving the EU, because much like that flightless bird's ring piece, Brexit is tougher than you might imagine and leaves a rather nasty taste in the mouth. Respect where it's due. So, these guys, Johnson, Farage, aren't really anti-elite. Obviously not. They themselves are born elites. No, they're just anti-debate and anti-knowledge. Who can say if Brexit is right or wrong, but certainly shutting down debate isn't going to help anyone. But don't listen to us. We're just metropolitan liberal elite ball bags.
Thank you very much, Rachel Paris.
The latest headlines: Saudi inquiry into journalist death records verdict of accidental torture, dismemberment and burying himself in the woods.
Middle-aged man in running shorts asking for it with provocative outfit.
And new Facebook employee Nick Clegg creates button called "Like me at first, but you'll soon fucking hate me."
But first, as TV's favourite dancing show continues to be dogged by infidelity, experts studying the so-called Strictly curse have been unable to fathom how two people spending days rubbing their genitals together to romantic music could possibly end up shagging.
It's a total mystery, you know. The Strictly curse really is up there alongside UFOs, Yetis, the Bermuda Triangle, because it's not like dancing is some sort of ritualised form of sex, or that skin-type costumes amplify what is already quite a wild, emotional journey. And certainly outside of Strictly, celebrities never, ever have affairs. I mean, we love them because they're loyal, selfless, well-balanced people, not insecure freaks who crave the love of strangers. So given all that, we think the studio's haunted by sex ghosts.
To help explore the curse of Strictly, we met two of this year's contestants, dance professional Mary Fisher and her celebrity partner, Stephen Malley, a comedian best known for supporting Lee Mack at the Shropshire Playhouse in 2013.
I cannot rationally explain all these affairs because ballroom dancing is wholesome, family fun. It's a bit sexy, perhaps, but in very subtle way.
I have no idea why people end up having affairs.
And we go up, and then we go around, and then we go around.
Yeah.
And we keep going around.
Yeah.
And then you... Yes. Yes, very
That's
good.
good. That's good.
Imagine I have a fire in my vagina, and you go to... Okay, yes, tell a story with your groin, yes,
I'll try.
yes. Feel it in here and also down there.
All right, yes.
Isn't it fun?
Yeah, my wife and I were laughing about the so-called curse, actually. Yeah, she loves Mary. Yeah, she even has a nickname for her. She calls her a toxic cow.
You want to get me into this?
Very good, very good.
Now, why don't I try sticking my thigh between your legs?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, this is such a funny situation.
Oh, we're such good friends.
I'm not horny at all.
It seems we'll never know how these relationships turn sexual. That friendship seemed as genuinely sweet as Tess Daly's smile.
You know, the real Strictly curse, Susan, is that 1/3 of the presenters have died.
More from us later.
The Conservative Party calling for big changes in the UK's immigration system after Brexit, with key ideas including a total end to freedom of movement. And all this came out in the same week that a study was released showing that European immigrants contribute more to the economy than British-born people. The government's own Migration Advisory Committee found that currently EU migrants have very little impact on wages, pay more in taxes than British people, and have no negative impact on schools, don't increase crime, and are net contributors to the NHS. All of which begs the question, why the hell are we reducing EU migration? Here to discuss this further is our immigrant correspondent, Catherine Bohart.
Hi, Nish. Hi. Thank you for having me. It's an honour to be here stealing a British person's job. As you know, I'm an Irish immigrant. We're the ones currently worried another civil war might break out because British politicians are completely ignorant of our mutual history.
Hey, snap! My parents are from India, where there was also a civil war because British politicians were completely ignorant of our history. That's fun.
Nish, that is fun.
So, Catherine, yet another report has shown that EU migrants are a net benefit to the UK. But I still feel like this is going to surprise some people. Why is that?
Oh, they've spent years being lied to by bastards. Yeah. In fact, over our lifetimes, EU citizens in Britain, on average, pay in £78,000 more than we take out in public services and benefits.
So how can we get people to appreciate the value of immigrants in this country?
Well, clearly, Nish, being economically invaluable just isn't enough. So the only thing left for immigrants to do is to stop being so foreign.
Catherine,
Look, the problem with some immigrants is that they keep making themselves too easy to scapegoat. Like, I'm an immigrant, Nish. You don't see me getting blamed for all the problems of this country. No one ever thinks of Irish people when they're moaning about bloody immigrants. We're fine. Now, and why is that? Well, it's because we look and act and sound fairly similar to Brits. The only difference being we're a great laugh, so people actually like us. And,
Well, I'm British and I'm actually sort of quite a lot of fun professionally.
All right. Now, if immigrants are the problem, why do politicians and newspaper moguls never whinge about the Irish, or the huge number of French people in London, or Australians? All they're doing is complaining about Muslims and Eastern Europeans. Look at this Farage poster from his Brexit campaign. Now, that was specifically about European immigration, but he still used a load of largely brown Afghan and Syrian refugees. He didn't use a load of blonde Scandinavian job seekers, now did he? Britain is leaving Europe because you don't like people from Asia.
OK, I see your point. It seems like the penny just dropped for quite a few people in the room. I see your point. It's that for their own sort of political ends, politicians and sort of media moguls, they kind of scapegoat people who it's easy to scapegoat because they seem the most different.
Exactly. Which is why I've spent, to be honest, quite a lot of budget making this training video to show immigrants how to be one of the good ones.
Oh, that sounds absolutely heinous.
Public service broadcasting, Nish.
I mean, I don't like the sound of any bit.
It's going to be great. Play the BT.
Why did she get to say that?
People prefer my accent. Hello, I'm Catherine Bohart. As an immigrant in Britain, sometimes it's not enough to merely contribute to the economy or prop up the NHS. It's also your job to make British people feel more comfortable with your existence. So, here's my handy guide to being the kind of immigrant British people don't mind so much. First of all, and I cannot recommend this highly enough, be white. Really. And if that just isn't possible, try to sound like this guy.
Good day.
Ahir hasn't chosen to be white, but he has gone and got himself a lovely little aristocratic accent. See how he sounds like Nish, but better?
Now, as Catherine pointed out, I did forget to choose to be white, which can be tricky. Catherine has loads of tiny brown bits on her, but they're known as freckles and are associated with being cute. Whereas I have one massive brown bit on me, and that's known as skin, and is associated with being say it sorted.
It is best not to be associated with a group that's linked to terrorism and popular consciousness. Though, remember, times do change. Next, English has to be your only language. British people are suspicious of anyone who knows more than one language. And in a way, why have you got a secret code that only you and your friends can understand? It's actually kind of childish if you think about it. Next up, in Britain, it's very important that you never be seen publicly sober. Am I right, Felicity?
You're right there, mate. They practically forget us Aussies are even immigrants because we're white, we can only speak English, and we fucking love a drink.
Nothing says useful contribution to society, like ordering breakfast beers on a Tuesday.
Huh?
Cheers.
Cheers.
Why are Australians mainly white?
You can be religious, but it's best to stick to Christianity.
Or one that's so confusing as to appear benign.
For example, my family are Hindu, a belief system with a long and complex history, which in Britain is mainly used to market things to vegans.
Tipsy here. Looks like even solving British racism is being outsourced to India. Am I right, guys?
I'm from East London.
Yeah, but where are you originally from?
West London.
Jaeger bomb?
So remember, be white, only speak English, drink alcohol, and try not to be Muslim. If you followed each of these points correctly, then congratulations. You're being the kind of immigrant British people don't mind so much. Even you are here.
I am British.
That's the spirit.
That was completely unacceptable.
Oh, yeah. Still easier than unpicking British racism, though. Am I right?
She's got a point. Catherine Bohart, everyone! OK. Let's move on to the ongoing disaster that is the Brexit negotiations. There are just under 6 months to go until